mathematical structures. What is this discrete mathematical structures? You may be thinking we have studied different maths topics like differentiation, integration, solving differential equation, numerical methods, etc. So what is this discrete mathematical structures? Discrete mathematical structures, so there are two types. One is continuous mathematical structure, another is discrete mathematics. So what is continuous mathematics? In continuous mathematics, we mainly deal with the differentiation, integration and related topics. So here, if we have to study differentiation, we should know the concept limit, then differentiation, then integration, then solving differential equation. Same way, if we have to study partial differential equation, we should know partial differentiation, then partial differential integration of partial differential equation, then differentiation, then partial differential equations. So related to that, many other topics also there in maths. So there is a linkage between different topics. So that is a continuous mathematics that you have studied already. So what is then discrete mathematics? Discrete mathematics also, some of the topics of discrete mathematics you have studied already in lower classes, like relation, function in PUC or plus 2, and combination permutation in below lower classes. But here discrete mathematics mainly deals with the topics which is not interconnected. So you will be having combinatorics, the topic combinatorics, which is not related to logic. So then we will be having set theory, then recurrence relation. So there is no connection between the topics. So one topic you can study independently. So I already told mathematics broadly divided into two parts: continuous mathematics and discrete mathematics. And in case of continuous mathematics, there exists relationship between various topics, and discrete mathematics concerned with the study of different or unrelated topics, that already told. Now, in present syllabus, we are studying some of the topics which are being used as tools in computer science. So, why we are studying this discrete mathematics? Discrete mathematics are useful in studying and describing objects and problems in branches of computer science, such as computer algorithms, programming languages, cryptography, automated theorem proving, and software development. So, in this area, this discrete mathematics topics are used. So, the concept of discrete mathematics is there for computer science students. It is not there for other branches, only for computer science students this course is introduced. So, now, when this discrete mathematics started? Discrete mathematics started a few decades ago, when computer usage became common. This discrete mathematics is started. So, universities found that the typical math sequence that lead to calculus course did not sufficient to cover the math need by computer scientists. So we are studying differentiation, integration, solving differential equation, numerical methods, etc. That is not sufficient to cover for computer scientists. So they introduced some other topics, extra topics, like example logic and combinatorics, recurrence relation, graph theory, etc., which is useful for computer science students. We shall see some of the topics. First one, logic. Used in proofs to show that one step follows from the previous step. Logic is used in programming languages, and there is a programming language whose main purpose is to deal with logic. What is logic? In logic we are studying proof. There is different connectives and proofs. So logic gates are used in the hardware of all modern computers. So that's why logic is important for computer science students. Now combinatorics. You have already studied some of the topics of combinatorics, combination, permutation, etc. Here some more topics are there in combinatorics. Then recurrence relation is a fascinating topic in mathematics. Next, graph theory is there. So graph theory is a full one course is there, graph theory, but here you will be studying one module, last module, module 5, graph theory. It deals with some of the basic topic of graph theory. It is introduction to graph theory. So there you will be studying trees, some of the theorems. So did you know that the files and folders on your C drive can be modeled with a tree? So the C drive, which is a folder in our file, the drive can be modeled with a tree. So there are many uses of graph theory in computer science. This is the brief introduction to discrete mathematical structures. You may be thinking why we have to study two math subjects. One is already you have one subject 18 Math 3.1. Again you have 18 CS 3.6, which is discrete mathematical structures. So you may be thinking why two math subject is there. So there is a discrete 18 Math 3.1 and 18 CS 3.6 discrete mathematical structures. Both are different. So there is 18 Mat 3.1 is continuous mathematics and 18 CS 3.6, which is a discrete mathematics, is not continuous. There will be different topics. That's why I told what is meant by discrete mathematics. So in continuous mathematics, what you have already studied, there you will be having differential equation. So while solving differential equation, you will follow one method, certain method. So one problem to another problem. If the problem is of same type, you will be following same method. So if there is a different problem, for example, differential equation with constant coefficient, right hand side 0, you will be having one method. So for all the problems, you will be following the same method. So if the right hand side is not equal to 0, there will be some other method. So for all the problems, you will be following the same method. So and using some trigonometric formulae and differentiation integration knowledge, we can solve the problems of differential equation of different type. So there will be certain method for all the problems. So you have to remember the methods. But here, discrete mathematics serves for a number of subjects in computer science and engineering. Outcomes of discrete mathematical structures. After studying discrete mathematical structure, the knowledge what you gain. There are 5 COs outcomes. In that first one, CO1, use propositional and predicate logic in knowledge representation and truth verification. Propositional, you will be studying later, so propositional and predicate logic. Predicate logic means you will be having x plus 2 is equal to 5. So here, if x value is mentioned, we can tell that whether the equation is true or false. So that is predicate logic. So CO1, use propositional and predicate logic in knowledge representation and truth verification. That is CO1. So we will be studying the topic propositions and predicate logic. Then we will be verifying the truth values, truth verification of different sentences, different statements. Next, CO2, demonstrate the application of discrete structures in different fields of computer science. So where the different discrete structures are used. Discrete structures means different topics, combinatorics, permutation, mathematical induction, etc. Where it is used in computer science. Next, CO3, solve problems using recurrence relation and generating functions. So generating functions, using generating function, how to solve the different problems. Next, CO4, application of different mathematical proof techniques in proving theorems in the courses. Next, CO5, compare graphs, trees and their application. So last topic is a graph theory. So in introduction to graph theory, so trees, introduction to trees and their application is studied in CO5. So these are the 5 COs of 18 CS 36. Next is the first module, module 1, mathematical logic. proposition or statement is a declarative sentence that is either true or false, but not both. So it is a proposition or statement is a declarative sentence that is either true or false, but not both. It should not be both, either true or false. Example, Paris is in France is true. So we can tell that sentence is true. So that is a proposition. London is in Denmark. It is false. So we can tell it is false. So it is a proposition. 2 less than 4. It clearly indicates that 2 is less than 4. So that statement is true. 4 is equal to 7. False. So these are the examples for propositions. A proposition is a sentence that we can tell that whether it is true or false. So it is clear from this that a proposition, these are the examples where we can tell that it is true or false. However, the following are not propositions. What is your name? This is a question. We cannot tell whether it is true or false. It is a question. Next, do your homework. This is a command. So here we cannot tell whether this sentence is true or false. It is a command. This sentence is false. This sentence is false. Neither true or false. We cannot tell the sentence. The sentence is given as this sentence is false. It is a sentence. We cannot tell whether it is true or false. So it is not a proposition. X is an even number. X is an even number, but we don't know what is X value. So it depends on what X represents. So if X value is given, then we can tell whether it is true or false. Here we cannot tell whether it is true or false. So false. So it is not a proposition. Mangaluru. Just a word. It is not even a sentence. So it is not a proposition. So these are some of the examples for the sentences which are not propositions. The truth or falsehood of a proposition is called truth value. If the proposition is true, we indicate the truth value by T or 1. If the proposition is false, we indicate the truth value by F or 0. So if the proposition is true, we denote it by 1. If the proposition is false, we denote it by 0. Logical connectives and truth tables. Logical negation. Logical connectives, in that first one, logical negation. Logical negation is an operation where if we take P as a operand, means P as the original value, if original truth value of P is true, then negation of P is false. If P is false, negation of P is true. So logical negation is an operation on one logical value, typically the value of a proposition that produces a value of true if its operand is false, and value of false if its operand is false. So if P is true, negation of P is false. If P is false, negation of P is true. So that is logical negation. So we shall see the truth value. So the not P, it is the logical negation is denoted by not P, or you can see the symbol negation P or negation of P. That is the symbol for negation of P. Logical negation, truth table. True, if P is true, negation of P false. If P is false, negation of P is true. Next one, logical conjunction. What is meant by logical conjunction? Logical conjunction is an operation on two logical values. For example, P and Q. If P and Q are two propositions, then P and Q is a logical conjunction. Here P and Q is true only when both P and Q are true, otherwise it is false. So that produces a value of true if both of its operands are true, otherwise false. So if both P and Q true, P and Q is true, otherwise false. The truth table for P and Q denoted by P and Q, that is a symbol. So truth table PQ, P and Q, you can see the symbol here. So both of them true, P and Q is true. If one of them false, P and Q is false. Next, logical disjunction. Logical disjunction is an operation on two logical values. Typically a value of two propositions that produces a value true if at least one of its operand is true. Here, if at least one operand P true or Q true, then P or Q is true. If both are false, then it is false. Otherwise true. We can tell like that. If both are true, true. If both are true, at least one of them is true, then it is true. Otherwise false. Notation is given here. PQ, P or Q, and the table representation. Both are true, true. One of them false, true. If both are false, false. That is OR. Conditional. If P then Q is denoted by the symbol. You can see the symbol there. That we can read it as if P then Q. Truth table of if P then Q. When it is false, see here it is written as 1 1. 1 means true, 0 means F. 1 is true, 0 is F. So if P is true, Q is true. If P then Q is true. Here when it is false, only when first one is true, second one is false, then it is false, otherwise true. So you can see here, if P is 1, Q is 0. So first one 1, second one 0. Then if P then Q is 0. Otherwise it is 1. So you have to remember it as if both are true, true. First one true, second one false, it is false. So first one false, second one true, true. First one, both are false, it is true. So this if P then Q is remembered as first one true, second one false, false, otherwise true. This is a table for if P then Q. Biconditional is if P, if and only if Q, or P, if Q, both are same, is known as biconditional, denoted by the symbol. Symbol is given here. So see, we can see the truth table. So here when it is false, if one of them false, it is false. If both are true, true. Both are false, also true. If one of them is false, it is false. Otherwise true. So we can remember it as if P, if and only if Q is false, if one of them is false. Otherwise it is true. Exclusive disjunction, next one, is P or Q but not both. P or Q but not both, denoted by the symbol. So here symbol is not there. This is the symbol. So we can see this is the symbol. So P symbol is this. PQ, P or Q but not both is a symbol V. Below that one line is there, that is P or Q but not both. So here 1 is 0, 0 is 0, otherwise 1. So that is the truth table for P or Q but not both. We shall write all together 1 1 1 0 0 1 0 0, and is true if both are true, it is false otherwise, or is true if at least one is true, both are false, false. P if P then Q is true when both are true, false when first one is true, second one is false, otherwise true. P if and only if Q is true, both are true, false when one of them is false, both are false, true. P or Q but not both is opposite to the previous one. So this is the truth table for all logical connectives.